Hey, how's it going? How everyone's half finished week 112. Overall, was a great week. I managed to accomplish a lot of things, not as much as I wish. Again, I set targets very high for myself, I guess. But either way, it was a great week. I wish I had more time to develop the software that I'm working on and finished more books reading of those. But either way, it was a great week. Let's move on to the next week. That would be week 113. I haven't made any plans for this week just because how and where I am with time and the way I'm organizing my time. I could always organize it better, but some of those meetings and a lot of emails do not take me anywhere. So I need to reflect on those as well as perhaps do time to have some emails that's been in my mailbox for some time, so I need to clear all of those. So once I clear everything, I did, I don't know, housekeeping, if you will. So once I have completed all the housekeeping work, I will come back to that, organizing next things and some of the objectives I'll be looking to achieve next. If anything, if would be any takeaways, would be perhaps for people up there, let me ask you something, right? What's the difference between website, app, and a platform? What is the difference between those three concepts? To answer this question, what would be the difference can mean for you, for your business, for your company, how profitable your company is going to be, as well as if that's something that you're interested in. I don't know, I'm talking a lot about money, but perhaps how much value you can offer to large groups of people, right? What kind of things you yourself you might be able to do on a website, what kind of things you might be able to do on an app, as well as on perhaps a platform. So what would be key areas, and so when it comes to doing homework and understand those kind of things, so where to begin or where to start. I'm learning a lot from if anything, I will be sharing. I almost finished that book. I will be sharing the more information with regards to that, perhaps in later videos. So I'll leave you hanging for now, I guess. In this video, I'm going to be looking at discussing what is Stock Act. I'll be covering that in as much detail that I have available, even though there might be some changes in way of some of the legislations and what's currently happening, but either way. So I'll try to cover that in as much detail as I can. The Stock Act, which stands for Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act. Uh, if you are a referee in a boxing match, and if you referee, right, so you are there to decide perhaps which of the fighters is gonna win, right? So, and you're up there betting on the fighters as well. So you're betting money on on the fighters. I don't know. So if you are a referee, perhaps it's not something that you should do, but again, it depends, I guess, on who makes the rules, right? Again, so the same people. The same people are making rules. If any takeaways, perhaps we can move away from this old system and perhaps instead of allocating all the responsibilities for small group of people to represent us, if anything, I would like to shed some light of human nature and what kind of problems we currently have, right? So this is an existing problem in the world. That's just one example. There are so many different examples, right? Perhaps we can outsource some of those things to different technologies, right? Where not necessarily you need to outsource that to different groups of people who perhaps will do or make decisions in their own interest. Perhaps you can outsource the technology, I don't know if it's perfect. We can perhaps roll out small batches. I don't know, some experimentation, testing bets, and from those bets we can progress into perhaps organizing and voting for ourselves instead of allocating or giving any control to a small group of people who would be looking up there to make decisions in their own interests. STOP Act is a United States federal law that was designed to prevent inside trading by members of Congress, their staff, and other government officials. The act was signed into a law by President Barack Obama on April 4th of 2012. And it's intended to promote transparency and accountability in government. Accountability in government. So either way. So this is what's happening, right? So, but a fine for if someone would catch any of those Congress members trading, a fine would be $200, right? This is a joke. This is a joke. I don't know. So just try to keep all those people in order, right? So even the president don't know what to do, right? Keeping all those gangsters in order. I don't know. I don't know. So this is what's happening right now. We're making a lot of changes to that just because of how much interest people start to notice about how much money people are making up there. It is sometimes in 200 millions or more. So this is how much Congress members are making from trading, inside trading, right? Which is great, right? So why I'm talking about this, right? So if I have a business, right, and my business is trading up there, so this is what's happening with the people up there who are making rules. What's best for people or what's best for the interest of those particular groups, right? Special interest groups, and how much my business, perhaps not right now, down the line, gonna have to pay for all of that stuff. Lobbying, all that jazz, right? So I would prefer to circumvent all the jazz and perhaps giving more control back to the people. I don't know if that sounds great or not. And perhaps a voting system, right? How people can vote instead of allocating to those groups of people. Then my business, instead my business would be operating for interest of those groups. My business would have to operate for interest of those people who are voting, right? So if it's gonna be everyone voting, my business is gonna have to operate to the best interest of the people. Now, this is where we find ourselves into for as long as that my goes understanding. So my business has to operate to the best interest of those people who are voting. Not necessarily the people, right? So this is what's happening right now. The key provisions of the Stock Act include prohibition of insider trading. The Act explicitly prohibits members of Congress, their staff, and certain other government employees from trading stocks, bonds, and other securities based on non-public information they obtain throughout their official duties. This meant to prevent individuals in these positions from profiting from information that is not available to them. This is how it looks on the paper, right? But once you start reading it, you understand it, you begin to understand what's actually happening, right? If they are, there's a time period in which they need to declare, or if they actually hold any shares of the company. If they would miss that time period, they would be fined for $200. They missed. So they left a lot of gaps in some of those contracts, right? So this is what's happening. So it looks great on the paper, right? So if you read that, or if you would work only with this information, so if I would pull all the contracts, it's sometimes I'm reading those contracts, it could be 50 pages, right? In the first page, I would find so many nonsense. So again, it would look great on the paper, but again, so this is what I have to work. I haven't worked those laws myself. I would read some of those laws up there even now, how they'll look into control currencies. So some of those laws, once I start reading those, it's so silly. It sounds so fun. The people out there who have so much control, they tend to get a hold of that control and not giving away that control. This is what's happening. So that's my frustration about current system, that for some reason I'm gonna have to understand and operate within that system. Disclosure of financial transactions. The Act requires covered individuals to report their financial transactions, including stock trades, within specific time frames. These reports are made publicly available for increased transparency. Again, so they circumventing that, but that's just a couple of things. So there's not even enough time. It could be 100 pages, right? Who has time to read those 100 pages? This contract itself is nonsensical. Reporting real estate transactions. The Act also requires reporting of real estate transactions, including purchase and sale, so to help prevent conflict of interest. So yeah, this is how it looks on a paper. Expanded reporting for financial disclosure. The Stock Act increased the level of detail required in financial disclosure reports that members of Congress and certain government employees must file, making it easier for public to track their financial activities. So once public starts tracking those financial activities, I can tell you what's going to happen. I'll bet because it's gambling. Okay, so let's call things for what they are. Investing sometimes can be a gambling, right? Since you can't predict the future just because of that, right? You can make calculated risks, but it's a gambling, right? So when you're gambling by placing or investing in different companies, so you can follow those Congress members and invest in the same companies. Enforcement. The Act authorizes the Securities and Exchange Commissions and other relevant agencies to enforce its provisions. Okay, yeah, of course, of course. For people out there who are interested in learning more, I have published a course. Within this course, I'm sharing 12 different subjects that I personally believe are very important for you to develop yourself as well as become highly effective, efficient individual when it comes to your productivity, output, how much things you can accomplish in a day. I have highlighted 12 different areas which I personally believe are very important. Most of those things haven't been taught in school, which are very important, especially the way how you organizing things, the way how you go about accomplishing a certain task in a day, as well as how you organizing some of the things that are on time. Just to name a few areas, right? So I have published this course in different formats for people out there who are interested or have any questions and are looking to find out more. Feel free to reach out to me. If not, you can find it on the company's website or if you would go to the link below. The Stock Act was passed in response to Congress about members of Congress and government officials potentially using their knowledge and access to privileged information for personal financial gain. By imposing stricter rules and greater transparency, the Act aims to uphold the integrity of government service and ensure that public servants are held to the higher ethical standard. I don't know. So I prefer, if you would ask me, for people to be able to invest in all the companies that they would like to. I prefer to for all the people out there, whichever person that would be, to have the right to invest in a company that they would like to. But I don't know where it comes to transparency, where the same person can decide if that company, how that company can operate, as well as making rules for that company, how the company can operate. I don't know about that, but I prefer to for people to have a right to invest in a company, whereas do whatever they want with their money, right? So they can earn money, lose money, they can do whatever they want with their money, right? But I don't know about making rules. I prefer to take that control away perhaps from a small group of people and give it to a larger pool of people, and perhaps voting with a particular on political apps, platforms on the phones, read those legislations and do that kind of system. That's what I'm interested in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.